When we talk about hooliganism slash soccer violence, like what kind of acts are we generally talking about?
It can be pretty much anything on a spectrum from deadly interactions. There have been stabbings. If you Google hooliganism and stabbings, you will find every year instances of fans traveling abroad and horrible things happening, sometimes deadly clashes, just fights, fist fights between fans and police, stewards, throwing objects onto pitches using fireworks. Which can lead to matches being abandoned, intimidation, hurling abuse, which can include racist abuse, which can also lead to matches being abandoned. So it's a very broad spectrum from physical violence, extreme physical violence, more into the sort of disorder, and then intimidation and harm or rule violations on the softer end of the spectrum.
Where would you say that, like right now, it's the worst?
Anecdotally, you'll see it in the news and you'll hear the stories. So in Europe, France has had issues since COVID started. They had multiple matches abandoned due to pitch invasions, bottles thrown at players, threats of intimidation. And that usually doesn't happen in top leagues. So that has been a big issue in France. There are countries that struggle, as I mentioned earlier, like Indonesia has had issues over the last 20 years, really, with football-related violence, stabbings. But then you can find it really everywhere. Like if you Google just in Europe, at least, hooligans and stabbings or football fans and stabbings, you will find something very quickly from this year, from last year. It's not one particular place. It's usually like intense rivalries or, yeah.
I live in the United States, and as somebody who lives here, like this is something that is completely unfamiliar to me. Is this just kind of the equivalent of fans fighting in the stands at an American football game like we see here? Or is this something different?
Organized fan groups against each other, quite violent, quite extensive. It can be with the police. You might see riot police in stadiums trying to separate groups. So it can be a lot more severe than just some random people getting drunk and fighting. It can happen outside the stadiums before games, unrelated to games as well. Like groups can meet and can become violent. It's often also related to territory. So you have some of these football rivalries that go back hundreds of years. They're often intertwined with political rivalries, religious rivalries. So if you think, for example, of in Scotland, the Old Firm between the two Glasgow teams, like one team stands Celtic versus Rangers. That's a representation also of a religious conflict. So there's much more than just about 90 minutes of football.
What can we expect of the World Cup? Is this something that goes along with the World Cup, or is that like no, it's too tightly controlled there?
I mean, it's tightly controlled. It's far away for most of the rest of the world, so it's quite a trip. It's very expensive this year as well. All aspects of it, like travel is expensive, accommodation will be expensive, tickets are ridiculously expensive. So I think they have unintentionally or intentionally priced out large portions of fans in general. Yeah, I think the risk for the World Cup would be quite low. But you still have like, the European Championships a couple of years ago, like when away fans travel, I don't know, a couple of hours instead of 20 hours, where it's more realistic that larger groups meet, then you can still have that. But I think the World Cup in the US, similar to the World Cup in Qatar, there were no incidents there. I do not really foresee major clashes there, but who knows?